this episode, we're talking with David Bean, the founder and CEO of Nira Innovations. It's all about lasers. You might be familiar with lasers that they use in medical situations. It could be in hospitals, dermatologists, beauty treatments, but they can be expensive. It can have a lot of downtime, and it can also be quite uncomfortable. Well, David is innovating lasers to use at home and get the best results at an affordable cost with no downtime, no irritation, and using them with app technology. Imagine a future where you can use lasers to biohack, and it's not that far away. They're even doing a lot of research and having great results with lasers for acne, lasers for psoriasis, for eczema, obviously collagen. That's something that we're all familiar with. So I hope you enjoy this chat, but honestly, especially when we talk about skin conditions and those which can really get people down and affect their life, it's very exciting where the laser technology is heading. So David, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today. It's a subject that I'm interested in because I think a lot of us think we know about lasers, but when I discovered exactly all of the in-depth information that you have discovered yourself about lasers and biohacking, it made me realise that we haven't really touched the surface. So with lasers and laser technology, what's most exciting for you at the moment regarding what it can do for our health?
Oh, there's so much there. So the biggest opportunity is anti-aging. So it can literally turn back the clock on your skin's health, and it can stimulate collagen growth and literally the renewing of your skin from the inside out. And what's exciting is it's becoming more accessible to the mass, population,
Yeah.
which is getting older, and we want to stay younger, which is great. So we now have home lasers that are just as good as the professional lasers for a fraction of the cost. And even better, they avoid all the side effects and
Right.
downtime of the professional. So it's a very exciting situation. And I equate it to like computers. Computers were, not so ubiquitous just 20 years ago. And now everyone has a computer in their hand, and it's changed their lives.
Because when you think about, obviously, cosmetic surgery is a different thing, but I think when your average person thinks about lasers, we think they're quite new technology in the same way
Mhm.
that we think that cosmetic surgery is quite new. But then when I was reading about your background and what you do, lasers have actually been used for our skin and for healing and for so many different things a lot longer than we might consider in the general public. Is it about 30 years or so?
It's actually even a bit longer than that. Lasers were invented in the 1960s,
Right.
and even before that, Einstein, with his theories, postulated that lasers could happen. And it took a few decades for the first lasers to be created. And in the 1960s, one of the first applications was medical. They started using it on tissue, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, Now, obviously, they didn't understand it well, and it took time to really hone in on what are the best applications and the tissue laser light interaction dynamics. And so it really started taking off in the 90s, late 90s especially. It started getting more popular, not just at the high end with plastic surgeons, but dermatologists started to buy
Right.
lasers. Now, these lasers were $50,000 to over $200,000. So it's high-end dermatologists, but they worked, and it spurred a lot of research on how can they best be used to promote good health and drive, the results that we want with minimal, detractors. So, and then in the last decade, home lasers have now started to hit the market, and there's a huge evolution in getting better and better at the home market, which is very exciting.
And when you think about the home market, has it only really been recently that the lasers are good enough to see that result? Because quite often people might have the wrong idea where they think that if you want to see a result, you've got to go to the professional, you've got to go to the doctor, you've got to go to the dermatologist. Do you think it's just in the last few years that they've really got to that level now?
Yes, yeah, really just in the last couple of years. There's been attempts to bring the professional laser technology to the home market, and it was expensive. Basically, it was fractional lasers were a big improvement over the ablative lasers in the doctor's office. Okay, the ablative lasers you'd need 3 months to 3 weeks to over 3 months in downtime, but the
Mhm.
results were absolutely fantastic. But there was just so much recovery time, and there was associated side effects that it was, a very niche market. Many people didn't want to that aggressive a treatment. So, but now with fractional lasers, it wasn't as aggressive, and the recovery time was a week or less, and you got good close results. And if you do it several times, like typically 3 to 6 sessions on a monthly basis, so within 3 to 6 months, with like between 3 and 7 days of downtime, you can get comparable results to the ablative. So it was moving in the right direction, fitting into people's lifestyles much better. But then the reason that the home lasers are so exciting is because you can avoid the side effects. So you have no downtime. And I equate it to like pharmaceuticals, right? If you need some prescription drugs for a given ailment, right? Or like say you need insulin because you're diabetic. You don't want to take a month's worth of insulin all at once and
Yeah.
then wait a month. That would be very dangerous, right? In fact, deadly. But with laser treatments, you can't take laser treatments every day. You can't go to your doctors every day, right? So they have to develop schemes in the professional setting to get all the treatment done in one day and then come back the next month. Otherwise, it's just so expensive. But with home lasers, we can now do it similar to insulin, right? Which your body, is stimulated. In insulin's case, you need it because you can't produce it locally. But in our case, you can exercise the skin in a way that we've developed that stimulates the collagen synthesis and the skin renewing a little bit each day, almost like exercise,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to exercise once a month either, right? You want to exercise a little bit every day, ideally taking 1 or 2 days a week off too, because you should have rest. And then you get fantastic results without any damage, without any pulled muscles or damage. And so now we're getting to the point we can take the professional laser technology out of the doctor's office, bring it home in a meaningful way, and spread it out over daily treatments, or sometimes twice a day if you want accelerated results. And you get all the benefits without any of the downside.
That's fantastic. Do you already see results with people that have adapted to using lasers in their lifestyle and their routine? Have you seen the benefits firsthand?
Oh, it's amazing. Yes, yeah. So my wife uses her laser every day. I use it regularly as well, and it truly works. And I can get into the science behind it. But with anything, you have to follow the protocol, follow the recommended instructions, which aren't much. It's just a couple minutes
Mhm.
a day treatment on clean, dry skin. There's no pain. There's no redness or erythema, and then you just fit it into your regimen between washing your face. Then if you can fit in laser treatment for a couple of minutes, then you move on to moisturizing and makeup, anything else you want to do. And it's quite reasonable to do that. And you can see not only does it help with anti-aging, but some of the age spots are improved, dark circles around the eyes. The signs of aging are improved in many cases too.
And you're a good advert for it, so that's a plus straight away. Um, I would wonder as well, sometimes in the industry there's a bit of a pushback when something becomes available for home use. Do
Yeah.
you feel that some of the professionals want to see reasons why we shouldn't use it at home, or do you think they see the benefits of us incorporating it into our routine so that we can go to them when we need something extra powerful, but we can also adapt, like we've done with so many things, like LED masks, like
Mhm.
so many treatments that we can do ourselves? Do you think there's actually more for us adapting it at home, or do you see a little bit of pushback with people that say, oh no, we should just keep it to the salons?
There's always that concern when a new technology comes out. People want are concerned about how it will change society, right? I mean, we're seeing this today with artificial intelligence.
Mhm.
How is that affecting schoolwork and people writing papers and doing research and things like that? We see that with electric cars and with even social media a few years ago. What is this going to do to the health and well-being, especially of young people, right? Getting too wrapped up in social media, and should we restrict it, things like that. So many of those concerns are valid, right? Some of them, though, go to an extreme to say you should never do any of the new technology, right? So it's got to be a balanced approach, of course, right? So in the context of like home treatments, um, there are good ones that have true efficacy and science behind them, but unfortunately, there's a lot of things out there that overclaim and underdeliver, right? So over time, these things sort themselves out. I come in from a laser standpoint, which is best in class, and everything we do is basically taking the same technology as a dermatologist's office and then just downsizing it and optimizing it for the home using the same stimulation approach, driving heat shock proteins and how the biology works relative to the laser interaction, and some like you mentioned LEDs, right? LEDs can have what I would say is a minimal effect. So they can have some effect, but it's very low level. It's called low level light therapy. So it's such a low level, it doesn't get over the threshold to stimulate collagen. It just doesn't. Okay, and the research has borne this out. And you to get enough energy, you have to put on like a full mask and you wear it for like tens of minutes, right? Whereas a laser, you literally 2 seconds and you're done with that spot. You move to the next spot, and in a couple minutes, your whole face is treated. Um, so you have to understand the technology, what it's truly proven for, not just what the marketing claims are.
Yeah.
Is there any research behind it? Has that device been tested? Most LED devices aren't ever tested in clinical studies. They say, oh, other LEDs have shown results, and we're using LEDs, so it should work,
Yeah.
but they haven't proven it, right? So it requires you to do a little homework. Or what's nice now is folks like you can have experts in the field interviewed and inform the general public, right? There's also great YouTube videos as well comparing technologies, and even you see many dermatologists and plastic surgeons, they have their own channels and they dive deep into the technology, and I love that. And we've they've reviewed lasers made by my company and others, and it's great because you really understand what's going on.
I think it's so exciting because there's so many treatments that people can get again in the doctor's office with the dermatologist, but you've always got that level of people who are either too frightened or it's a
Mhm.
little bit out their
Yes.
budget. And they'll always
Yep.
find a reason why they either can't afford it or they're a bit too frightened. But when I
Mhm.
read about what your lasers can treat, can you share with us just some of the skin conditions and also just the health and wellness element of what the lasers can treat?
Sure, sure. Well, you make a good point that some people just don't want to have aggressive treatments. There's some people that say, no, I never want to go under the knife and get a facelift or, even a tummy tuck or whatever the case may be. Others say, I don't even want any downtime. I don't want pain. I don't want, any damage to my skin. And I respect that. That's actually a holistic, more healthy approach, if you ask me. And some of those treatments with lasers are quite aggressive. And frankly, I'd even be, concerned doing it myself. And I haven't. I haven't. So I much prefer the approach where you're doing it in a way that's stimulating collagen and skin rejuvenation in a more natural way, right? Just like, if you have acne and you go out in the sun, you'll naturally reduce your acne because you're getting natural sunlight and there's a good biological effect there, right? Which keeps your skin healthy. You've also had podcasts about biohacking and the gut. and keeping a healthy gut, in which we eat, good nutrition, avoiding the bad oils, the
Mhm.
processed sugars and carbohydrates, can clear up your acne, as was shown, as well as a whole host of other things, inflammation around arthritis and things of that nature. In terms of what lasers can do, especially these home lasers that we've been developing, is they definitely stimulate collagen, and you actually have more collagen and newer collagen. So the old collagen can shrivel up like a prune, right, or like a raisin. Think of a grape, which is plump, and a raisin, which is all wrinkly,
Mhm.
right? I think of baby skin. It's so plump. It's like a grape. You can bounce a
Yeah.
quarter off their cheeks. It's crazy, and you just want to squeeze them, right?
Yeah.
So
True.
and it's just so smooth and just plump. So that's because they're filled with collagen. It's all new collagen that's retained all the water. And so this is the process where turning over the raisin, the collagen that can't hold water anymore, replacing it with new collagen that's ready to hold all this water, and it renews your skin from the inside, and it plumps it up from the inside out. So, anti-aging is a great application for the latest home lasers. What we're finding, and we've tested for that, it's clinically proven, FDA cleared, indicated for not just reducing wrinkles, but renewing the skin, which is a great claim that FDA allowed us to have. Um, but even beyond that, we're going to do additional clinical studies starting in September to prove that age spots are improved,
Right.
dark circles around the eyes, and also for the neck, for the chest area, for the back of the hands. These are all concern areas that people, even that look beautiful on the face and neck, their hands can look old, and they're
Yeah,
very embarrassed about that, right?
that's true.
So we want to prove that we can do it all. And frankly, most people are actually using our lasers for these areas and getting great results, posting before and afters. And we don't claim that it does this, but we suspect, we know that it's likely to do that. But we're going to prove it, and then we can claim it fully. And we know it's safe to use that. So people can experiment using the laser all over because we've proven it's safe from ages 12 and up. And the reason we tested even 12-year-olds is because we've done some acne studies, and lasers to treat acne is another
Yeah.
um, big area. So it's not just acne, but there's other skin diseases, psoriasis and
Mhm.
eczema, leishmaniasis, molluscum. There's a whole bunch of them that I'm very excited that many of them don't have good solutions. And in the future, so every year, my company is going to launch a new laser or renew a given laser to new indications to say, now this is proven to address this. So instead of the other treatments, like if you go to a doctor for certain warts and other things, you can freeze it off, you can burn it
Yeah.
off, you can cut it off. I mean, these are very aggressive treatments. And many of them work very well with minimal, if any, scar tissue. So I'm not saying that's not good, but if you can catch it early with a mild laser treatment that's very affordable, so the problem never happens, then that's the best of all worlds. So that's where I see it going from anti-aging. There's already laser hair removal, and we're likely to have a laser hair removal that's best in class coming out very soon. And then there's skin disease. So it's the sky's the limit here. And I envision in the future, everyone's got a computer in their pocket called a cell phone, right? And it does amazing things. I envision in the future everyone's going to want to have a laser in the bathroom. So when they have a skin concern, they just take care of it, problem solved.
That just sounds fantastic. It makes complete sense because, as you say, there's so many really harsh treatments. Like even as you say with acne, it can be extremely harsh chemicals on the skin. It can be the medications that are so strong that they have to monitor your bloods. And as you
Yes.
say, if you can biohack, use your phone and adapt to suit whatever your requirements are on a day to day basis, that just makes complete sense. No wonder you get so excited about it. And as you say, if it's a year on year thing where you're developing and pushing forward, who wouldn't be on board with that? That makes complete sense.
It's very exciting. And you mentioned apps and biohacking. Let me just say we've got an app we just launched with the laser, and it tracks all your progress and gives you coaching. Are you in the zone? Have you fallen behind? And it actually gives you feedback and rewards you when you're doing well and keeping up. And you can take before and after pictures, and we're going to soon add to it actual skin analysis. So you can do a skin analysis and then get direct coaching, and then compare your skin analysis from earlier to now, and you see how you're improving on a sophisticated basis with technology. So it's very exciting. And then further with the app, you can then customize the laser treatment to your particular skin type. So for example, say you have sensitive skin,
Yeah.
right? And level one might be a little bit too warm because we don't want discomfort. With the biohacking, we can stimulate collagen production without pain. There's actually a cool regime. If you get just below the pain threshold,
Right.
you actually stimulate the collagen but don't have the pain. You get a nice warm sensation. Almost feels like a massage for your
Nice.
face. Which is really nice, right? So, but let's say you have sensitive skin and you can only use level one, but you don't have much flexibility within level one. With the app, soon you'll be able to say, all right, I have sensitive skin, and I'll change the 5 levels. So now level one will be very easy for you. And then you can scale up to where what used to be, level one is now level five, and it's the higher limit. And then likewise, there's some people that say, you know what, I just want more. I don't have sensitive skin. I want to feel more depth. Or maybe they have more water in their skin. They need
Yeah.
more energy to heat up that water, to feel the heat. So then we'll scale it up on the other end to say, all right, you want more in-depth treatments, more, heat, more energy. We can scale the 1 to 5, where maybe 3 was 1 is the new 1, and 5 goes beyond 5 to a more deep treatment. So everyone can optimize the results for their skin and get feedback in the app.
And I think, did you say from the age of 12 too? Because I have to remind myself that a 12-year-old now is not my 12. They're so much more evolved, and they're probably like a 16-year-old now when I think about
That's
how
true.
savvy they are. I can see that as really beneficial because it could be a lot of preventative things. Because, as you say, obviously, skin. So many teenagers have such a tough time with skin, but it's, as you say, it's not necessarily acne. Sometimes it can be, as you say, psoriasis, eczema. It could be little growths that are harmless. But as you say, if you're able to sort of biohack and basically from a young age, just
Mhm.
get into that habit of looking after your skin, as you say, working with an app, that could potentially really help people navigate their teens and take away some
Exactly.
of the stress that a lot of teenagers go through because they don't have the right advice, they don't have the right products, and they end up making it worse than it needed to be or leaving something. I could see that as being an incredibly beneficial thing and not a cosmetic thing at all.
Exactly. A lot of people, when they look at anti-aging, they think, well, that's just a vanity market. It's not important. But it actually is important from a confidence standpoint. We want to look our best. We want to feel our best.
Yeah.
And it's not just lasers. It's you need good rest. You need good nutrition, right? And ideally, you want some exercise as well. So you put that all together, and with the laser, you can really do amazing things. But there are some conditions that are even worse than anti-aging. I mean, we're all going to age, right? And like you said, acne, that can be debilitating from a psychological standpoint on young people, right? And I think it's worse than when we were younger. People they can hide behind social media, they can hide behind texting, and they can say very hurtful things
Yeah.
that are just horrible for people, for young people especially. So the nice thing about lasers is they're very selective. So unlike LEDs or RF technology, radio frequency, or there's a bunch of other technologies, lasers are the one that are super selective, right? It's a single wavelength, and you can match that wavelength to what it's absorbed in the skin, right? So we can select the wavelength in this case to be absorbed only in the dermis, not the epidermis, not the subcutaneous, but just in the dermis, and do just what we need it to do, uniformly provide some thermal energy there, which will stimulate the collagen, right? For acne, for example, you have an over active sebaceous gland producing oil. And P. acne, which is very common, if it gets deep in there, it's very hard to get rid of it because the topical ointments just don't go deep enough. And it'll just fester for years, literally. And sometimes, even though you can't see it on the outside, there'll be a little bump, and it's still buried underneath there, right?
Yeah.
My daughter had acne for a couple of years, and was originally developing the laser. We had literally the first handheld prototypes. This is like a dozen years ago. She says, "Dad, can I use it on my acne?" I'm like, "I think it'll work, but I'm not sure. I know it's safe." She says, "Well, let me use the prototype." So see, this is a teenager. I
Yeah.
mean, she was begging for a solution, right? This is how important it is for them that she'd even use. Of course, she trusted me, and that I knew it was safe, and so she tried it. And literally, these bumps that would not go away, and every once in a while would get reddish. They went away in like a week. It was like a game changer for her, right? And her
Yeah.
confidence came back. She started to glow more. You just feel better about yourself. So we find even with the laser that we have for anti-aging, it uses 1450 nanometers, which there are clinical studies, and we've done our own clinical studies for acne at that wavelength. And what you'll see in those studies is if you use this wavelength as the you can feel acne starting to come in, but you don't see it on the outside yet. If you treat with the laser, it'll go right to the sebaceous gland, address it, and solve it before it even comes out, which is amazing.
Good. Yeah.
So you don't have to react to it, right?
Yeah.
Because topicals can't get down that deep. So we're optimizing the laser at a even better wavelength, and we think we can cure acne in the future. So we're going to come out with an acne laser goggle on within a year or two. That's just going to be an amazing, advancement in the
That's not
technology.
long. That is not long at all.
Yeah, yeah. So this is why I'm excited. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so what we can do with this biohacking, or just the laser being so selective, and then just understanding the technology, and it's so consistent, and we can so precisely set the energy, we can come up with a formula that, and then test it in clinical studies, which we always do, publish the data, and then get the clearance, and then offer it to the home. And then with, skin varying from one person to the other, and by age, etc., that's where the app comes in and the customization that you can use it and optimize it for you, and then problem solved.
Because then it means you're not on a waiting list. You're not having to find somewhere where you have to travel for hours because they
Yep,
don't have someone local to you. There's so many things about this that for someone that is struggling, that is a lifeline. That's so
it's true.
it's just as you say, it's giving people a chance to get your life back basically, because when that happens, you feel as if you can't do things, you don't want to do
Mhm.
things. I know it's not all about acne, but straight away, that's a big one. That is really a huge one.
Yeah, yeah. And my daughter, even before she used the laser, she went into a professional dermatologist, and she got, you can get topical steroids, and she got this other thing that was a 4-part process and things like that. A lot of those things that are proven, it's the efficacy actually, and you can read this in clinical reports, are actually very low in terms of maybe 5% of the population or 10% it works well for. But the vast majority, maybe it doesn't work. You don't get results, right? So, and they can sell on the basis that, it works for some. But that's not good enough for me.
Yeah.
And that's where lasers, it's not a chemical reaction. It's more of a physical reaction. You're basically targeting, almost like microsurgery, in a very clean way, right? You're targeting and absorbing the laser just where you need it, with no collateral damage to anything else, in a way that just shrinks the problem over a short period of time, and it's gone. And I think that's a great approach.
That's fantastic. So, how can people find you and exactly what you offer? Is there a website? You're saying about the app. Is there somewhere that they can look for you?
So the company is Nira, Nira, and you can go to niraskin.com
Okay.
and learn all about our products. We also list all of our intellectual property. You can see we've got dozens of patents. We've got our clinical study results there. We got all the before and afters are actually from clinical studies. And we put them right there, and you can literally see for yourself, is
Uh-huh.
this a good change or not? And that's based on 3 to 4 months of use, and then post 3 months use, because they wanted to be sure that after you've used it, the results didn't go away, and they actually continue to build for a few months and stabilize. So this is a long-term solution, at least for the
Mhm.
anti-aging at this point. We've done some preliminary acne studies. We can't say it cures acne
Right.
yet, but the good news is if you treat acne well with lasers, not only does it go away, but it seems to stay away, which is even
Mhm.
more important. So it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
So you want to basically get that sebaceous gland in control. So nearaskin.com, you can read all about us. And like I said, we'll be launching a new product each year. We're
Uh-huh.
also on social media, Facebook, and you know,
And
YouTube.
if they wanted to ask you any questions at all, are you quite open to like taking any questions on email, or if they leave you a question on social media, even if they think it's something that they might think is a bit silly, are you open to answering any questions
Oh,
at all?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have a full customer service that is just ours. We don't
Yeah.
farm it out. It's people that work for us. We actually make all our technology right here in the United States. We assemble it right in here in Massachusetts in the USA. I know you're in the UK, but
Yeah.
we also sell direct into the UK and Europe. But this is real technology, and we love questions. So
Yeah.
you can call it on our phone numbers right on our website, and you don't have to dial by number or anything. Once you dial, actually a human picks up the phone.
Oh,
Okay.
brilliant.
It's
Sometimes,
that's old school, yeah.
yeah, and sometimes you might have a question and you can be a little bit intimidated and you think, is this question going to sound as if I don't know what I'm talking about? And the truth is, you don't know what you're talking about. So it's
No,
great
no.
that you're saying a real human will answer any question. That
Exactly.
puts
They
me in mind.
all our customer service is well trained. There's also FAQs on our website, the frequently asked questions. You can search on those. It's quite extensive. So education is key, and I appreciate what you're doing to get the word out on these new technologies and new approaches, because it's really helpful,
Yeah, it's
and
exciting.
they work if if you use them well. You know.
Well, David, thank you. And what I think's really, really interesting is that I've got no doubt in just a matter of years to come, we'll all be using your technology and we'll just be using it day to day in the same way that we just get ready and we brush our teeth and then we'll just use our lasers. And that's what I think is really exciting about our chat today. So thank you so much.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you.